We're up here today with new John Deere 323E, and we're going to take this tree out. It's a mulberry tree. And I want to show you, you know, when you take out trees, you don't want to get too big a hurry, but I've left this here for enough years that I know that's non-productive. As you notice right around the tree, the base of this tree, the drip line of it, this was in beets and greens last year, and nothing grew because the tree is drawing the nutrients from the soil, plus it's shading up. And when you try to plant, you always got to plant around it. And I left it there. I had a stand up in there once, but it wasn't really conducive because you couldn't get out of it at evening. So it's better off not even had it. So like I say, this was bare dirt. It was seeded. You put the seed in it and nothing grew, basically because the tree is zapping the nutrients out of it. So we're going to take it out today. It's a nice day to take it out. The ground's moist, and you're working with nature, not against it. Too wet to do any tillage work. As you can see how the mud packed up here, but it's just right to take that tree down. Now, that tree will have a substantial amount of root in it, stump, and I don't want to saw it off because that's useless, because then you got to work around the stump. And in my world, I take the trees out, and that way when I'm in a maddening pace to get the food plots planted, I don't have to worry about hitting a stump and breaking tillage equipment. So we'll get busy and get taking them out. Now the tree's leaning to the southwest. I grew sun, probably that was the direction of the sun, so it's pulled most of the tree, the weight, to the southwest. So we'll dig it out and push it out to the southwest, let the weight of the tree help pull it over. So we'll start to dig in here and see how it goes. Now I'll show you. This dirt is nothing but mud. I mean, it's way too wet to do any tillage work, way too wet to do any work other than you can just right to be taking trees out. So let's get started. You can see firsthand for yourself the extensiveness of that root system. That's why those roots are pulling all the nutrients and the moisture into that tree and out of what's trying to grow, because that's one heck of a root system, and it'll pull everything into that old tree. And it's not doing any good, but the size of those roots are huge. And another thing that I found out, the soil's not as wet, as deep, because we're still in that drought per se. That's, if you had that dirt on top, the subsoil is not very deep right now. It's pretty dry. So we're gonna have our work cut out with this big old guy, but you can see the extensive root system on it, and that's a tree to take out. And it's going to take me a while. If I had a 235 cat or 245 cat excavator, that tree wouldn't be nothing. But I'm working at the bottom. But if you do have access to an excavator, you can reach up and use the leverage. So what we got to do is start at the bottom and then try to work our way up. We'll build up and try to get the weight to transfers to push it over. Well, we pretty much got the root system dug out, and it had an extensive root system, and I'll show you. Now it's just about the ball, but we're 4 feet at least in the ground here, and you can see the roots that are in that ball. And a bigger machine will no doubt help, but that's not what we have on site. But you can see some of the size of these roots. You're not going to push it over until you dig clear around it. That's just a huge root. And all those roots are basically siphoning the moisture out of this area and the nutrients. And I'm going to dig a little more on this side, and then I'm going to build a ramp to get me up in the air so I can get the leverage up higher. So I'll fill this back in because the roots had already been, per se, broke out of here. So I'll do a little more digging, then I'll get a ramp pushed up here, so that'll put me higher on the tree to give me more leverage. And as soon as I get the ramp up, I'll turn the camera back on. But boy, you can see the root ball on that sucker. He's one of the tougher ones that I've taken out. And like I say, the ground up here is pretty dry, really. I mean, if it had been down on the bottom ground, the ground would have been a lot wetter down there. That stump would have came out a whole lot easier. So let's get back at it. Well, we got the ramp, as you can see, for the skidder going up there to get higher in the tree. We got a bucket full of dirt to give us more weight when we get up there. And we've done some extensive digging on that tree. And I think we can get her done. So let's see what happens. We got her done. And like I said, in anything in life, an inch is a cinch. You can do a mile with a smile. That's an exceptionally big root ball right there. I'll step out of the way. And you can see that was a big challenge for that machine, but we got it done. Just take your time, be safe, and don't stress the machine. So they had some big roots in there. Mission accomplished. Just remember, when you're falling a tree and you're out here in a big field like this, take the tree down the way the tree's leaning. That way you'll use the leverage of the tree. Build yourself a ramp, get up in the tree, and that way you're high enough to where you'll have more leverage. And you see that came out pretty easy, but I'll tell you what, you look at these tap roots down in here. That's some big roots in there. You would have a hard time pushing him out. That root right there, that's a good 8 inches round. So you're not going to push it out with that little machine unless you finesse it out of there. So let's get it pushed out. Well, there you go. See how big that stump is? We got it out of there. But you got to use finesse. Finesse is sort of a word that's eradicated out of today's society. They just want to bully. Wouldn't do no good trying to do that with that little machine. Quite capable of doing it. You just got to use finesse. American-made machine, kicking ass. Now that's one hell of a deer. It didn't rub the tree, it knocked the damn tree down. I'm going to go ahead and start sawing some of that weight off of there. There's no use of trying to push that in this soft ground, so I'll get the chainsaw out and saw some of them big limbs off. That way I can get that going where I want to. Yeah, that'll lighten that load up. Then I can push that with its less weight and get it off of there. Well, we'll go back and get in the machine and move that stump out of there now. But you can see how big that stump is compared to that skid steer now. But just don't abuse your machine. Just as long as that machine is moving and it's not lugging it down, it's only going to dig that much, and that's all you know, just like I said, an inch is a cinch. You can do a mile with a smile. And now that we got the debris, the stump, and the big limbs gone, I'm going to run the pulverizer over here and pull out some of the excess roots that are at the surface just to get them out of the way. Then I'll level it out with the skid steer. So right now we're just trying to group up any loose roots and limbs, and so they're not in the dirt. So that's what we're going to do right now. Got the hole filled in where that tree was. Now you can see we got a lot more area there. We won't have that dead zone under the tree, and as you've seen how big the roots were, they were sucking a lot of moisture out of there. That'll make it a lot easier when you come in here. I can just go right around this tree line now without having to jack around with that one tree in the middle. Well, that's going to be the next project that we're going to take out today. I don't know how long it's going to take me, but you got to be real careful with these old dead trees, because there's a lot of deadfall up there that can come down, and that's what's happening here. Every time you come up here, there's new limbs that fall off. So we're going to take this guy out. So here we go. See how it turns out. He's been dead for about 4 years, so the roots ought to be pretty well dead. But we'll know in a minute. I get the camera back here so when it falls, it don't fall on the camera. I knew this oak would be hard to push out. The roots don't grow, they're real deep. The roots are real deep. They go, the taproot goes straight down. Doesn't do like that other softwood tree did, per se. Right now, I don't know if I can do this. There. You see how deep I'm in the hole right now. This was ground level. I'm a good 4 foot down in the ground right now. So we're gonna fill this back in and see if we can get up, see if we can get it high enough up in that tree and push it over. And it's leaning to the west, so we're gonna fill that in, ramp it up, and hopefully be able to push it over. Well, you can see the difference between trees. That's an oak. I'm gonna have to saw it down because it ain't coming out of there. I don't have enough horsepower and I'm not gonna abuse the machine. We're already down there. I'll just dig the dirt back out, saw it, and push it over that way. Yeah, for all you safety conscious people, I got the boom locked out so they can't drop. I'll leave it up there and I'll cut some more on the tree. But you wouldn't want to do that if it was just boomed up there without being in the lock position. I wouldn't recommend doing that by yourself. A lot of things can go wrong out here in the woods. But I've worked by myself my whole life, so but that doesn't, you know, mean that you're immune from anything. The dang thing, I needed a bigger chainsaw. Either that or a bigger skid steer. But those oaks are tough. But it's down now. So that was our objective. And nobody's hurt, the machine ain't broke. That oak was just as tough in death as it was in life. But it took for years for that to ever fell over. And them limbs would have just kept falling off, so. But that root wasn't going out. Well, we didn't get the stump out. Those oaks are tough, even when they're dead. And, I'll saw on that, it'll rot out. But anyhow, that's it. Trying to get a few trees out of here.